Cast. I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
From local sports to national newsmakers, this is the show everybody is talking about. Live from the Granite State, it's Mike and the Hoss on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Good morning and welcome to the Mike and the Hoss Show, powered by the Yum Shop on the Pulse of New Hampshire. I'm Mike Dene, and alongside Charlie Hossack, we are Mike and the Hoss. Dog, Charlie, how we doing?
Good morning. It's been a great morning. We've already had a little pre-show banter going on.
We did. We were
about stuff we're talking about and stuff that we're making predictions, which is pretty wild. I mean, we've got a lot to talk about today. And one of the exciting things that we're going to get to hear, you probably heard it on Overtime with Mike and the Hoss, but you're going to get a chance to hear from the head baseball coach, Andy Theriault at Plymouth State University. We did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago, and you're going to get a chance now to hear that on our live show.
That's right,
which is exciting.
So we are excited about that. And our our trivia question,
yes,
actually came from one of my students this week.
Yeah, which is awesome.
So we're going to credit Josh and
thank you, Josh. And we went 2 for 3. So you didn't get it, which is great.
I didn't get it.
Dog got the answer, and I got the answer. Josh asked me in the hallway. So
it's gettable.
Yeah, it's gettable. I like that word. It's gettable.
It's gettable.
And then trivia today is pretty exciting too, because it's sponsored by Maine Love Water. So you're going to get a chance to get yourself a case of water. You're going to get some Maine Love swag. It's pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome prize.
Yeah, we got quite a bit lined up. All right, Mike and the Hoss is powered by the Yum Shop, located in the heart of downtown Wolfboro, and can be found on the Pulse of New Hampshire radio stations and all over the world on the Pulse of New Hampshire app. You can always catch up and listen to our previous shows on the Pulse Podcast Network, Spreaker, Audible, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. The Yum Shop has over 100 varieties of fresh baked goods, including 6 different types of bread and a full-service ice cream bar, and of course, their most famous item, the gingerbread cookie. Make sure to visit the Yum Shop the next time you're in Wolfboro or online at yumyumshop.com. And while you're there, enter the discount code of Mike and the Hoss to receive 20% off the Gingy Box. You can join our conversation, 603-228-2080. That is 603-228-2080. And as always, thank you to the Heinz Group of Philadelphia and London for sponsoring our Facebook Live and YouTube Live feed. And you can always follow us on social media.
Yeah, you can follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Social media is continuing to grow. We love it, and we love the fact that people want to follow us, and we love to interact. So go ahead and post some comments, and someone from the Mike and the Hoss team. Typically, it's sometimes me, sometimes my daughter Abby, and even you, Mike.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Every once in a while, I would say if we were ranking people as far as social media,
I'm definitely third.
Abby's number 1,
yeah.
And I'm a distant 2.
I'm a very distant 3. Yeah, so. I don't go on very much. Opening takes are brought to you by the Back Bay Boathouse. I made it there last night for a quick meal.
Oh yeah.
I played golf at Kingswood Golf Club.
Yes,
by the way,
another sponsor.
Yeah. And made it over to the Back Bay Boathouse. Buffalo chicken mac and cheese.
Ooh,
I don't know if you get a chance to try it over there. It is spectacular.
That's great. They have such great food there. And now the deck's open, right?
Yep.
So you can sit out there. So it's the Back Bay Boathouse, where you can enjoy delicious food and drinks right next to the lake. Don't forget to order the $5 Mike and the Hoss penalty box during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Thanks again to the Back Bay Boathouse.
Do you want it, or do you want me to do it?
Let's talk about the fact that we're not going to get to see any soccer this summer.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught, and Dog, maybe you saw this. Charlie, I know you caught, especially after I mentioned it to you. If you want to go see the Championship World Cup soccer match, it's going to currently run you $33,000
for one ticket.
One ticket.
That's just to get in.
That's not secondary and third market. That is face value. $33,000. The price of a Toyota Prius, I guess, is probably maybe even more than that.
Maybe even
a Camry.
Yeah.
Probably a Camry.
Yeah.
$33,000 to get into what, and they defended it because they were called. This has been an interesting thing when FIFA obviously decided to come to the United States for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And one of their promises was that it was going to be accessible.
Yeah.
It was going to be accessible for the average Joe.
For the 1%.
For the one, barely even 1%. It's like the 0.01%.
Yeah.
And so then the first round, the first iteration of the tickets came out, and they were, $900 to $3,000. And we mentioned it on the show. He was like, holy crap, that's not very accessible.
No.
And so what did they do? They leaned into it even more,
Yeah.
and they decided, well, the market for the finals is going to be pretty intense, and we're going to jack the price to $33,000. That is what the face value ticket to
Yeah.
go to the finals is.
Wow.
$33,000. Now, I ran some numbers on
Yeah.
comparable things just so we can compare it.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl
Sure.
in 2024, between $8,000 and $9,000.
Okay.
To get into that game. Now, a lot of these are secondary market stuff, though. This is a lot of secondary market. The 33,000 is not secondary market.
No, that's like
secondary
I'm
market
gonna-
could end up at around $75,000.
Yeah.
The Stanley Cup Finals, $2,300.
Okay.
But that was an average. It peaked in Edmonton at $3,200. This is obviously in 2024.
Yeah.
And in Florida, $1,600 because
Yeah.
the population is not that much into hockey compared to Edmonton, obviously.
Right.
Major League Baseball World Series 2024, $1,700 to $2,300. That's a Dodgers-Yankees thing.
Yeah.
And then the NBA Finals 2024, this was the Celtics and the Mavericks, $1,400 to $1,500, which was a 33% increase relative to 2023.
Can I ask a question, just to clarification or clarifying question? So these are face value, or this is secondary
I
market?
believe
like
that these ones
StubHub
these are the secondary market
Okay.
prices, but the FIFA ticket was
the straight up.
The
It's
straight
interesting.
up.
So and we've talked about this before. So I've been to a few World Series back in the day, and it was interesting because I still have some of the ticket stubs and stuff. And face value that we paid, it wasn't secondary. It was like $100 for
Yeah.
1 year, like 120. So that you're not talking a lot of money back then.
I went to a couple. I went to the Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals
Yeah.
one back in 2004. I was in 2004, and I remember paying like $125.
Yeah, right.
And
So,
it's just it's insanity where it's not just this. I mean, this is just basically the economics of our world right now.
mhm,
To buy a house,
yeah,
a starter home is running $600,000 to $700,000.
yeah,
The old rule of thumb that when we became
We're growing up,
adults,
yeah, sure.
that it was 3 times your income.
right.
And so you need to be making somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000 to own a starter home.
It's just
That's not
it's not reasonable.
No, it's not reasonable, and it can't last.
Right.
At some point, the inventory has to go away. What has to happen with these $33,000 tickets in the World Cup? There has to be empty seats
Yeah.
for this to stop. But unfortunately, there's probably not going to be empty seats.
No, because what you're going to see, Mike, is you're going to see the corporations purchasing these tickets, and then they're going to give it to their
I'm just sad. because
clientele.
the story of this, or the take on this, is that professional sports are pushing aside the drivers of their sports, and that's the average fan.
Yeah.
That's the average fan is the ones that the 1% aren't going to fill these stadiums of 75,000 people.
Right.
Game in and game out. 162 baseball games. It's not the 1% that is filling these stadiums. It's not the 1% that's buying the Nesson packages and all those kinds of things.
Right.
It's the other 98, 99%.
Mhm.
By doing this says, well, I can't watch my team until the end. I can't be part of my team until the end
Yeah.
because I'm going to support this team throughout the whole entire journey. And then I'm going to get the end and I'm going to be completely priced out.
Yeah.
I told you the story of the PGA Championship. I went down to Winged Foot. This was back in '97, I think. And we camped on the final round. And Davis Love, there was the one that Davis Love won. And we were on the 18th green, final round. And we got
Yeah.
there pretty early. And we were there. We were up on the ropes
See
on the
right there.
18th green
Yeah.
so we can see it. And so we had to be there 3 or 4 hours early before, so we can get this spot. And when Davis Love was in the fairway on the 18th hole, mind you, we had been there for 4 hours standing up, not very comfortable.
Yes.
These dignitaries came in, and instead of being in the front row, we were 6 deep.
Yeah.
Because they moved the ropes so these dignitaries can come in, and these police officers and all this other kind of stuff that happened. And we went from being in the front row, spending our time, putting our time in, to the 6th row for the most part.
Right.
And it was so frustrating. And it was my first dose of that. Oh,
Mhm.
It doesn't, what matters is ultimately is what's in your wallet.
Right. Similar experience, quick story, is Celtics. So we would go to frequent Celtics games. We had a friend from Brewster Academy that had floor seats. And when we first started going, probably 10, 15 years ago, they were truly on the floor, and you'd have one or two rows of the black seats that you see. No big deal. You still felt, oh my gosh, as the years went by, if you look at the seats now, there's no longer 2 rows, it's 3 rows, and there was 4, and now it's 6, now 7 rows. So you have all these rows of seats that are considered floor seats, and the seats that we used to sit in are pushed back. Yeah, you're on the floor, but you're way back now.
Right.
So when we could actually go to games, you could actually reach out and high five the players if they so wanted to. Now, like, you couldn't even you'd have to like wave to them. It's no longer that close.
No, it's no good. And it's not sustainable. And I think that's ultimately, and the housing market is not sustainable, and athletics is not sustainable. Something's going to have to break. I don't know if it's going to happen sooner or later, but something's going to have to break, because this is not good for sports. It's not good for like housing market, cars, whatever you want to say, gas.
Yeah.
It's not good for anything. So anyway, all right. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to have the varsity coach for Plymouth State University, Andy Terrio, an interview that we did a couple weeks ago. So it is a little bit dated, not too dated, but it is a little bit dated. Yeah. And it's a great interview. Andy does a really nice job.
He does.
Talking about the Plymouth program and his journey there.
Yeah. So, and even the better part is that you were his teacher.
I was his teacher.
Which is great.
We'll be right back.
Your home for news, talk, and information.
This is 107.7 WTPL.
The Pulse of New Hampshire.
Hi, Jack Heath here, inviting you to join me on October 25th on a journey through the lovely landscapes of England, Scotland, and Wales with Colette. Space is now limited and filling up fast. From the historic cities of London and Edinburgh to the English charm of Chester, medieval York, and lovely Stratford-upon-Avon. Along the way, we'll board a train and travel through the rolling hills and even enjoy a traditional English afternoon tea. This and so much more. Colette handles the details: flights, meals, hotels, and local experiences. Your only job, have the time of your life. Don't miss out. Last chance to join me. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or visit thepulseofnh.com to learn more. That number again is 800-581-8942.
Hi, I'm Cheryl from Capital Craftsman and Romance Jewelers.
And I'm Frank.
We were talking the other night about all the reasons to shop at our store.
We are a family-owned business for over 45 years.
We have an in-house jeweler that can repair broken jewelry.
We have the largest selection of handcrafted gifts and jewelry in central New Hampshire.
Let's not forget our engagement rings and wedding bands. If we don't have it, we will design it for you.
We have natural and lab-grown diamonds in stock. If you have a budget, we'll help you find it.
And we also have you, Frank. Battery boy.
Here we go again. Let's give them reasons not to shop in our store, Cheryl.
Do you think they're sick of our ads?
Yes, and then there's the parking issue.
But there's free parking on Saturdays in the garage. And Frank, we are a fun store.
We do have a lot of fun. You're right, Cheryl. Stop in and see us. Capital Craftsman and Romance Jewelers, 16 North Main Street. Find us at capitalcraftsman.com or like us on Facebook.
Weathervane Restaurant is the perfect spot to enjoy boiled lobsters, fresh grilled salmon, fried clams, and ice-cold margaritas with your whole family this Mother's Day. For a limited time, Weathervane is offering their succulent baked lobster pie for just $34.95. That's a 1-pound lobster shucked and topped with their homemade crab meat stuffing baked to perfection for just $34.95. You don't have to be a seafood lover to come to Weathervane Restaurant this Mother's Day. They have the best burgers, fried chicken tenders, and perfectly grilled steak tips in New England. Whether you visit their main location in Kittery or one of their New Hampshire locations in Chichester, Dover, or West Lebanon. Weathervane Restaurant offers happy hour Monday through Thursday, 3 to 5 p.m., 50% off select alcoholic beverages, and half-price apps. And don't forget, for all you Claw Club members out there, Weathervane Restaurants offer double points every Wednesday. Collect points and earn free food and drink. Go to weathervaneseafoods.com for more details.
Coming up at noon, we talk tech with Jim Commando. In the meantime, we're back to Mike and the Hoss on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
We have a special guest today, and I'm really looking forward to this. This is a former student of mine who has gone through a path of baseball career that has landed him at Plymouth State College. Coach Andy Terrio, the recent hire at Plymouth State College.
Plymouth State University.
Yes. Is joining us. Andy, how are you? Coach, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, Mike. Doing well, Charlie. Glad to be on with you guys.
Well, we're really excited. I mean, it's been a long time, Andy, since I've seen you in my math classroom, but really excited for you. And I was looking at some of your bio. I mean, this has not been a direct path for you. You know, we've got the Brockton Rocks, we got Brewster Academy, we got St. Joseph College, Gordon College. Can you give us a little bit of a history of, you know, what you've been doing in terms of baseball and how you ended up at Plymouth State?
Yeah, absolutely. You're spot on. It has not been a linear path by any means. I was just a young 22-year-old, you know, fresh out of school, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and spent about 2 weeks working in sales and realized that sitting behind a desk was not going to cut it for me. I couldn't sit still. So I started off working at a travel facility and coaching little guys. And I was actually living out in the Midwest at the time. And I believe it was about 2012. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, we moved back to the Lakes region, and I hopped on the coaching staff at Brewster Academy, and that was really kind of the start of my baseball coaching career as a 24, 25-year-old. Spent about 6 years at Brewster and had a great time, a lot of great people, and it was great to be back in the community. And then I was fortunate enough to link up with you know, my former classmate and good friend Tad Skelly with the Brockton Rocks and the Futures Collegiate Baseball League, which is, you know, it's one of the premier amateur college summer leagues in the country. You know, just really kind of a notch below the Cape Cod League, but you know, we're seeing some of the best college baseball players in America come through that league. And I was lucky enough that I spent 4 years managing. I started off as an assistant under Tad, and then I spent a couple years as the manager there in Brockton. And that was really where I kind of started to develop the itch to get into college coaching. I really liked coaching the high school kids, but for me, especially here in New England, it's such a short season. I'm a baseball junkie. You know, the 16 to 20 games just wasn't enough for me. So started kind of putting feelers out and thinking about how I could, you know, grow my career and eventually try to turn it into a career so it wouldn't be just a part-time gig. And I reached out to the head coach at the time here at Plymouth State, Clay Jenkins, and I was lucky enough to get on his staff as an assistant coach. And I spent 3 years working for Clay and made a ton of great relationships and really expanded my network. And then COVID threw a wrench into everything, as it did for everybody. So that was kind of where I got to a weird point in my career where, you know, am I going to be able to make this work? You know, there's a lot of restrictions, you know, there's a lot of travel. And I hopped over to St. Joseph's College in Maine. It was more of an expanded role for me where I was, you know, running the offense, you know, coaching up all of our hitters, coaching our catchers. And I was actually only at St. Joseph's for a year, but I had a great time. Really enjoyed my tenure there. And then coming full circle when local guy Tad Skelly received the head coaching job at Gordon College down in Wenham, Mass. He reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in coming down and working with him and being the recruiting coordinator there and working with the hitters. And I jumped at that opportunity. It was a good opportunity for me to, you know, link back up with Tad, who I have a great deal of respect for, and he's done so much for my coaching career. And I truly believed in his vision. So we linked up in 2023. I was commuting actually from Tuftonboro to Wenham, 99.2 miles from my door at home to my office door. And my wife and I have twin girls who at the time were just shy of 2 years old. And it was just, it was getting a little bit strenuous to try and be present as a husband and father and also do the work that I needed to do. So I actually took some time to step away from baseball and, you know, spent the last couple of years just working in the private sector. And then I hopped back on staff here with Plymouth in January. And here we are now.
Well, wow, that's what a ride for you so far. Andy, I got just a question for you. You are now the boss. You are the guy at Plymouth State University. So, what is your vision for the baseball program over the next few years?
Yeah, of course. It's a great question. So obviously this year I hopped back onto staff, and then our head coach at the time had brought me back on, and he had stepped down here about 2 weeks ago for personal reasons, and I got elevated to the big chair, and I think for me, particularly this year, it was just how do I not rock the boat too much and keep us on the path that we're on for this year. But going forward, I think for me, the one thing that I've seen here over the last couple of years is the growth and potential of high school baseball in New Hampshire. I feel like it's as good as it has ever been. So I think for me, one area that I really want to hammer home is I want to keep the best players in New Hampshire, and I want them to consider Plymouth State University. So I think, for me, as I hit the ground running here on the recruiting trail, it's going to be, keeping New Hampshire kids in New Hampshire. And then once they're on campus, I want our identity to be very blue collar. We're gonna work hard. I want us to be well coached and understand the game. Because we're in a situation where we're pretty far north, and we're a little bit behind everyone else as far as when we can get on the field. So I want us to be able to step on the field come March 10th or whenever we typically open up, and be able to hit the ground running, knowing that we're as prepared as we can be. So that's, kind of what I'm looking for is local kids who want to, really want to compete, want to work hard, want to learn the game. And then ultimately we want to compete for championships here in the Little East Conference, which is one of the best baseball conferences in the country. It's clearly one of the top ones in New England, up there with the NEWMAC and the NESCAC. So we really have to work hard to get where we want to get. And I think, we're trying to identify the type of kid that can get us there.
Yeah, that's a great answer, actually, and you're helping me out with my question, Andy. I appreciate it. I wanted to build a little bit on the recruiting piece. I know you have a lot of experience with recruiting, but what do you look for? How do you identify a student athlete that's going to fit into your program and to fit into your culture?
Yeah, for sure. So I think, the easy answer is always, you go and watch a kid play and do they have skills? And that's obviously typically one of the things that's easy to spot. But for me, I'm a believer in identifying, more of the off the field stuff. Is it a kid who, is going to work hard in the classroom because, ultimately these guys have to carry a certain GPA to be eligible. I don't want to have to be chasing you down, making sure you're handing an assignment. So it's a lot of talking with their schools and their coaches and their trainers and making sure that they're doing the right things off the field. I feel like we're in a situation where, we have good baseball minds around. We can see the physical side of it, but is this going to be a guy that I'm going to have to worry about on a Friday night in November when we're out of season? Am I going to get a call Saturday morning? So it's trying to find, kids that want to be here for the right reason. And I think for me, it's just trying to expand our network across New Hampshire so that we have as many people that we can reach out to about these players as possible. Because ultimately, when I talk to a recruit, for me, it's you're coming here for 4 years, but we want this to be a stepping stone to prepare you for life after Plymouth State or wherever you end up. We want you to leave here and be a contributing member of society and be a good husband and a good father. So I think for me, it's those conversations with the recruits and their parents and their teachers and their coaches, because ultimately we want 40 to 45 good people in our locker room. So I think for me, that's the most important part on the recruiting trail is am I going to get someone who's going to come here and work hard and maximize what abilities they have.
Andy, on the same note, you're sitting down with a high school senior, high school junior. What do you tell them that your coaching style is? What are they going to get when they come to Plymouth in terms of Coach Theriault?
Yeah, you're going to get coached hard. I think, I'm very much, I'm not a yeller, but you're going to get coached hard, and there's going to be a standard and a level of expectation that you're going to compete without being, cheered on to compete. That's just going to be the expectation. You're going to compete in everything you do, whether it's in the classroom against your peers or if it's on the practice field against your teammates. You're going to compete, and that's going to be the expectation, and you're going to get coached hard. And we're gonna coach you up in more than just baseball. Like I said, I want these guys to leave here and wherever they go home or they create a home somewhere here in New England or wherever it may be. I want them to be proud to say that they played baseball at Plymouth State University, and I want people to say, wow, you know, these guys from Plymouth State baseball are great guys and they're great people. So I think for me, there's an expectation that, you know, you're going to get coached hard, and that's what I tell every kid. You know, if you can't take hard coaching, then I'm probably not the guy for you. Like I said, I'm not a yeller, I'm not a screamer, but I have certain expectations where there's just non-negotiables. And I think, you know, for me, we're going to work hard. We're going to keep our nose clean. We're not going to be chirpy. We're not going to be, you know, pushing the limit, towing the line in the classroom. We're going to be hardworking and upstanding citizens. And that's my expectation. And you can expect me to kind of be hard on you for those sorts of things.
So, Andy, you came in obviously late. You was hired a couple weeks ago for this year's team. And as we turn the page to talk about this year's team, is this an older team that you have now? Is it younger? Is it a building, developing kind of team? And I know it's early, obviously, in terms of your tenure, but what do you see as the kind of team that you want? And is this team built in that mold that you're looking for?
Yeah, so we're pretty young. We do have a handful of seniors, but in a lot of the core spots, we're really young. We're really young on the mound, a bunch of transfers, freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores, who are getting really, really valuable experience. So as we're struggling this year, it's encouraging to know that these guys are taking their lumps now, because as they become upperclassmen, they're going to be really high-end quality contributors. Same thing on the position side. We have a couple of really good freshmen that are playing almost every day for us. One of them is a local New Hampshire kid from Bow. Our everyday left fielder is a freshman from Connecticut. We have a sophomore who's playing behind the plate pretty regularly. So it's a young group. There's just enough senior leadership sprinkled in there where they're kind of taking those kids under their wing and teaching them, you know, the ropes of college baseball, because it's a different game and it's a different speed than the high school game. But I'm really encouraged by the young core that we have both on the mound and on the diamond. You know, I think we're young where it's important. We're young at the catcher spot, we're young at the shortstop spot, and we're young in the outfield. So those are all guys that are playing significant innings right now. As you know, we're taking our lumps, but they're learning and they're improving every day. And it's encouraging to know that those guys will come into next year now with a year under their belt and hopefully ready to springboard into a long, successful collegiate career.
Andy, I know that once again, as Mike said, I know you're only a few weeks into this, but as you're kind of looking ahead to the future, taking a look at your coaching staff, what roles do you see that are important as far as developing your coaching staff and having an effective coaching staff for the future? And I know obviously with all of your experience, you've been all around, you've coached different positions, you've been head of recruiting and all that stuff. So what are you looking for in coaches for the future?
Yeah, for sure. I think it starts with the obvious is a pitching coach. I've coached the pitchers. I was a catcher. I can coach pitchers, but I'm much more comfortable on the offensive side of the ball. I would love a pitching coach to be my number one priority. It doesn't matter whether it's the little league level or as we see at the big league level, that is the single greatest predictor of success on the baseball field. When you pitch it well, you're always going to have a chance. So I think for me, identifying who that could be and who could really kind of take the reins of a pitching staff to develop our guys. And like I said, we have a handful of young guys right now who are getting quality innings and are developing. But I think for me, that's really the single most important part. And then secondary to that is someone who really wants to bust it on the recruiting trail, because you're only as good as your recruiting. We have to bring in quality players, and that's somewhere where I'm going to be highly active on that front as well. But to have a second set of eyes on the road and going to as many events as possible and just being seen at events and getting the Plymouth State name out there is really important. So I think for me, it's someone with a strong pitching mind and a second set of eyes who really wants to kind of really get after it on the recruiting trail so that we can get this thing going in the direction that we think we can.
Well, that's awesome, Andy. We're so excited for you, this opportunity that you have, and for Plymouth State baseball. It's been, often it's the number one baseball program in our state over the last 30 years. And we'd like to see it get back there. So we're really excited for you, and we have a lot of confidence that you can get him there. We'd also like to do this every year with you, before the season and maybe at the end of the season when you're getting ready for your playoff run next year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'd love to, guys. I'm super appreciative of obviously my roots here in the Wolfboro and the greater Wolfboro community, and you guys. Obviously, I won't say how many years ago it was that I was in your math class. We'll leave that one for the listeners' imagination. But
I appreciate.
I'm appreciative for all you guys do for local sports, and I know how heavily involved both of you guys are, and I certainly appreciate that. Appreciate my roots. So I'd love to come back on and be a guest anytime you guys would have me.
That sounds great, Andy. Hey, best of luck the rest of the year, and we'll be looking out for you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great. Thank you, guys.
This is the Pulse of New Hampshire, 107.7 WTPL.
Here at LaChance Water Filtration, we're proud to announce that we have been voted Best of the Lakes region for water treatment once again. With over 20 years of experience, LaChance has seen all kinds of water quality disasters, but our expertise continues to come out on top. LaChance has won Best of the Lakes the last 3 years. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all water filtration system. At LaChance, we tailor our filtration systems to your specific water quality and your specific wants and needs. Whether you want to remove stains, make your water safe to drink, or just to want a little bit of extra peace of mind, LaChance Water Filtration can help you. After all, customer satisfaction is what won us Best of the Lakes region in the first place. Give LaChance Water Filtration a call at 603-732-2533, visit our showroom at 200 Laconia Road in Tilton, New Hampshire, or contact us at LaChanceWaterFiltration.com to find out how we can make your water be better than bottled.
Knoxland Equipment, a better deal from a better dealer.
Now is the best time to get more for your money on a new Mahindra. Enjoy 0% interest on select models or save thousands of dollars on a rugged Mahindra tractor. That's more for less on many Mahindra's best-selling models with tractors that deliver more lift capacity, fuel efficiency, and built-in weight. Save more on Mahindra today. At Knoxland Equipment, they'll show you how much more tractor and how many more attachments you can get for your money. With up to a 7-year powertrain warranty on Mahindra tractors and Knoxland's well-trained staff, you can count on years of service after the sale. So whether you're a farmer, landscaper, or homeowner, get to Knoxland Equipment off Interstate 89 at Exit 7 in Warner, on Facebook, and at Knoxland.com. 0% APR financing available for a limited time only. See Knoxland Equipment or go to MahindraUSA.com for more information.
Knoxland Equipment, a better deal from a better dealer.
Online at Knoxland.com.
Now it's the perfect time to think about a spring shakedown for your RV. If this year is anything like last year, you're going to want to call Bill's RV and make your appointment now. With over 40 years of experience, Bill's RV service will make sure your RV will be up for the challenge. From basic repairs to plumbing and electrical services. Make your appointment now to make sure your RV is ready. Bill's RV Service, Route 4 in Chichester. Call 603-798-3000 or online at billsrvserviceinc.com.
Now is the perfect time to sell your RV. Not sure how to go about it without paying hefty middleman fees? Bill's RV Service in Chichester will sell it for you. Bill will advise you on the fair market value of your RV and then sell it for you at no additional fee to you. The buyer pays the premium. Bill can even come pick it up for you. Call Bill's RV Service now at 603-798-3000 for all the details or online at billsrvserviceinc.com.
Get in touch with the show anytime at thepulseofnh.com and on the free to download Pulse of NH app. Now, back to Mike and the Haas on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
All right, welcome back to Mike and the Haas on the Pulse of New Hampshire. I want to thank Andy Theriault again.
Yes.
I'm excited. Their season's over now. It just ended a few days ago, and it obviously was a rebuilding year for them, and trying a new culture, trying to get that whole ball rolling. And we've been first year coaches before, so
of course,
big challenge ahead of him. But I like the energy that he's coming there with.
Absolutely, I think he's going to do a great job. I know we're excited to watch his career unfold at Plymouth State. You made a comment about how getting Plymouth State baseball back to where it had been in the past. And if there's anybody that can do that, it's Andy Terrio.
Yes. All right. That was our New Hampshire sports segment.
It was. Our New Hampshire sports is brought to you by Bailey's Bubble. Today, Mike, is opening day for Bailey's Bubble. Family-owned and operated Bailey's Bubble in downtown Wolfboro serves the finest ice cream in the state from May through October. If you can't make it to Wolfboro for ice cream, you can still order their hot fudge, panucci, and butterscotch sauces at baileysbubble.com. My favorite is their homemade hot fudge. When placing your order, don't forget to tell them that Mike and the Haas sent you. Opening day. I'm heading down later today.
Oh, good.
All right. We have some trivia.
Yes.
You ready for trivia?
I'm ready.
Trivia. I'm ready too. Trivia is sponsored by Maine Love Water. And you guys, if you listen to the beginning of the show, you're going to get a chance to win a case of Maine Love Water. They have flavors raspberry lime with bubbles, wild blueberry, lemon with bubbles. They have perfectly still. They have blackberry grapefruit with bubbles. And they have just plain old bubbles like this one with bubbles. Maine Love started with a simple idea, taking something that Maine has in abundance, pristine water, and sharing it in a way that supports neighbors, protects the planet, and sends a little love to everyone. At the end of the day, Maine Love is about more than water. It's about community, sustainability, and love. So the question, this was from Josh. This is exciting. Josh asked a great question. Josh is a middle school student here. What is the only sports city in the United States where all major sport teams wear the same primary colors? What is the only sports city in the United States where all major sports teams wear the same primary colors? If you know, 603-228-2010. Excuse me. Let's try that again.
Yes,
603-228-2080. That's 603-228-2080 for a chance to win a gift pack from Maine Love Water.
And they really take care of you with the swag.
Oh, it's
and
awesome.
the water, the case of water. They give a variety pack, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Our poll question this week is going to be about Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini.
Yes.
Mainly about Mike Vrabel.
yeah.
But obviously the story is Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini, and you wanted to.
I just want to
go
talk.
there.
That was kind of like my opening take, and so we were talking pre-show, the three of us, that this thing is really. At first, we're just kind of like, okay, it was an affair. Obviously, none of us support the fact that it was an affair, and it was just going to kind of get swept under the rug. This thing has teeth. This thing is getting bigger and bigger. You mentioned during OT this past week, Mike, that the poly market and as the percentage is continuing to get a little bit higher and higher and higher. And right now it's about a 75% chance, you said, you checking it this morning, that Mike Vrabel would continue as head coach of the New England Patriots. Dog had made a good point saying that, you know, every time we turn around, there's more photos, there's more information, there's more stuff that's out there, and that there's possibly even more that we don't know, that they're starting to, the media is starting to, you know, sprinkle a little bit more here, a little bit more there. And there's going to have to be a decision that's going to be made at some point by the New England Patriots organization. They've already talked about the fact that they have two potential coaches in waiting, right? The obvious would be Josh McDaniels, the current offensive coordinator, who has been a head coach before, a poor head coach, but he has
unsuccessful.
Yeah, unsuccessful. He has done it. And then the talk of Mike Tomlin, the retired Pittsburgh Steelers coach, as a possibility of maybe returning to New England. So if they're starting to talk about that, kind of figuring out what could we do if we move on from Mike Vrabel.
And you can get odds on both of those guys to be the next coach.
Yes, yeah.
So it's not like pipe dreams. It's there's people talking about them being potentially the next coach.
Yeah. So I think, my personal opinion is that we're in a situation where Mike Vrabel did something awful. He's taking the attention as being on him. He's taking it away from the team. It's supposed to be team first. The fact that Mike Vrabel did this is awful. As I've said, this is terrible for his family. And I'm at a point now where I would really like to see the New England Patriots move on.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you're saying that.
I am. I think it's time. I think this situation, Dog's got it, Dog, and I'll let you speak for yourself. But Dog is like, there's going to be more. There's people out there that have stuff that's going to come out.
And the Patriots are apparently trying to negotiate a financial settlement with Diana Rossini to not tell her story.
Money, right? Hush money.
To not tell her story.
Yeah.
when we first started talking about this, my take was the Patriots are dirty. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah.
And not that the rest of the league's not, but they try to carry themselves like they're their model franchise. Yes. And it's the hypocrisy of the whole thing that is really hard to listen to with them. I don't know. I mean, I think that he will be the coach at opening day, which is what our poll question is. Dog, we want to go for it?
Sure. You want last week's results?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. All right. Last week we said, are you happy with the Red Sox firing the time manager Alex Cora? 66.7% saying yes, 33.3% saying no. So this week's is, will Mike Vrabel be the New England Patriots head coach come September, the opener? Yes or no?
All right. Before we go to break, we have Ryan on the phone from Concord with an answer for trivia. Now, Ryan, before you give the answer, Charlie and Dog both had this correct. I did not. What say you? Which city? Well,
Ryan, what is the only sports city in the United States where all major sports teams wear the same primary colors?
Oh, it's got to be Pittsburgh.
You got it. It is Pittsburgh. The Penguins, the Pirates, the Steelers. You got black and gold or black and yellow. You are correct, sir. You won yourself a case of Maine Love water. You've won yourself some Maine Love swag. You are going to fall in love with Maine Love. So I hope you enjoy it. We appreciate you listening to the show. We appreciate you calling in, and congratulations on the trivia win.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Stay on the line. Dog's going to take your info. When we come back, if we could fit it, I know we're scrunched for time because we did that interview. We have a game that we want to play.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about the Red Sox.
We need to talk a little bit
about
the Red Sox.
We're going to spend about 5 seconds on the Celtics, too.
We are. And then eventually we're going to talk a little bit more about the Celtics because I have something I want to mention. And whether we get to it this week or next week, it'll still be there.
All right. We'll be right back.
News, information, and discussion. This is 107.7 WTPL.
Mother's Day is almost here, and the most meaningful gifts aren't things, they're moments. This year, give them the gift of relaxation at Serendipity Day Spa and Float Studio. To celebrate, they're hosting a Mother's Day giveaway, and 2 lucky winners will be chosen. Grand prize is $100 in spa dollars, plus a complimentary 60-minute float. Second prize, a Mother's Day gift basket valued at $75. Entering is easy. Just text MOM to 78,000 for your chance to win. For over 23 years, Serendipity Day Spa has been voted Best Day Spa, pampering the capital region with luxurious facials, massage therapy, relaxing pedicures, Botox, photo facials, wellness shots, and more. From quick refreshes to full spa days, there's something for every loved one. This Mother's Day, give them the self-care they truly deserve. Text MOM to 78,000 now and visit serendipitydayspa.com to book your appointment. No purchase necessary. Contest ends May 10th at 11:59 p.m. Standard message rates may apply. Additional restrictions may apply.
This summer, join the Proudy, the Upper Valley's largest community celebration to bring hope to cancer patients and their families, fuel groundbreaking research, and help us move closer to ending cancer.
I Proudy for every single person who fights the battle against cancer.
The Proudy is a family-friendly event where you can bike, walk, row, or volunteer to support the life-saving work at Dartmouth Cancer Center. Hope starts here. Hope starts with you.
I Proudy for my Uncle Joe.
For my buddy Mark Powell.
My late husband.
Join us for the 45th annual Proudy on July 11th. You'll support groundbreaking cancer research. You'll help provide care and support services for our patients and their families, essential services like the Cancer Center Food Pantry, and expanded mental health support services made possible by last year's Proudy. Deliver hope across New England and beyond. Thanks to the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation, all donations will be matched 1-to-1 while the match lasts, doubling your impact. Register today at theproudy.org.
Do you ever feel like you're doing everything you can to keep your family healthy, but something's still missing? Hi, I'm Dr. Stephanie, mom, grandma, and founder of Crossroads Chiropractic. Getting adjusted is the best gift my mother gave to me as a child. After countless rounds of antibiotics and surgical tubes in my ears, my health turned around when I finally saw the family chiropractor. Whether it's your child's sleep struggles, frequent colds, headaches, or your own stress and tension, your body was designed to heal. Sometimes it just needs the right support. Let chiropractic restore balance to the nervous system so your body and your kids can function the way they're meant to. No drugs, no guesswork. Just gentle, personalized care. Imagine fewer sick days, better sleep, more energy, and a calmer, more connected home. Results vary, but in 25 years, we've helped thousands in Pembroke, Meredith, Epping, and Bedford. This month, a complete exam with any necessary x-rays is just $59. Call 603-575-9080 or go to crossroadschiropractic.com.
You're listening to the Granite State's own Mike and the Hoss on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Mike and the Hoss on the radio waves. Teachers by day, coaches making plays. Sports talking kings of Wolfboro Town. Husbands, fathers, where heroes are found.
We're going to come back. We don't have much time. Did you catch the story of Brody Bamia?
Yes.
He's a pitcher. He's a 6'9" pitcher down in Massachusetts. And from the beginning of the year, I've been kind of following him on social media because he's been putting up ridiculous stats. He throws the ball over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
And in high school, 6'9". He's a lot of leverage there.
Sure.
And yesterday it was senior day, and he's a senior. And this was his stat line: 7 innings. That's a high school game, right?
Yeah.
No hits, 20 strikeouts. How many outs again in a high school baseball game?
You get 21 outs in 7 innings.
21 outs.
Yeah.
He had 20 strikeouts. Out of the 21 outs. He pitches for Bishop Feehan.
Yeah.
One of the prep schools down in Massachusetts. Is that the best game ever pitched? I'm wondering.
That's incredible.
As far as high school goes,
a no-hitter.
There's
20 of the 21 batters.
There's literally, there's a couple things. We don't know if he had any walks. I don't know if he had any walks.
Yeah, right.
And you could have 21 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's one of the best games ever pitched.
I would think so. That's incredible. And I know that obviously Major League scouts are already looking at this kid.
Well,
They're salivating like this, what this kid has the potential to become.
Dog, Mizorowski, the kid, Milwaukee pitcher. Did you see his inning that he threw yesterday?
Yeah, yes.
Threw 10 pitches all over 100 miles an hour. 10 pitches all over 100 miles an hour. 102, 103, 104. 100 miles an hour is the new 90. Right. Well, I'll say maybe it's the new 95.
95, yeah.
Maybe it's the new 95. And when we were growing up, if a high school pitcher touched 90, he was getting drafted.
Yeah,
he was getting drafted.
Yeah. Now the expectation high school pitchers should be like 88 to 91
at least.
Yeah,
at least, and maybe you're going to go to a college at that point.
Yeah, right.
You're probably not going to get drafted.
No, not drafted. Yeah,
no,
they'll be playing in the next level.
You need to be topping off at 95 anyway,
right?
To get looked at. It's unless you play for the Red Sox. Red Sox, if you're 88, they'll take you.
75.
They will take it. Red Sox
we might have a shot right now. Still, Mike, we forgot to mention that this final segment is sponsored by Maine Love Water. Maine Love Water and seltzers are sourced from pristine Maine waters, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste in every can. Next time you reach for canned water or seltzer, choose Maine Love.
Speaking of the Red Sox,
yes,
I find myself in a very enviable position with the Red Sox.
And
I do.
In what way?
Well, when they win, I'm happy.
Yes.
When they lose, I'm happy, and I'm going, there, that's what you get. Because we've talked about it extensively on this show. The philosophy of the organization, I can't stand it. I can't stand what they're doing and how they're trying to win. But I'm still, in my heart, I'm still a Red Sox fan. I still want them to win. But I also, when they lose, I'm in the I told you so mode. It doesn't work.
This is what you're going to get.
Yes. So I might be a winner all season long.
You could be. So in the last 10 games, the Red Sox are 5-5. So they're playing 500 ball.
Yeah, they're playing better. They're playing better.
They're playing better. They're 17 and 22. They're tied for last in the AL East with the Orioles.
But they're like less. I think there might be 2 games out of the wild card. It's not.
Yeah,
they're
it's a whole
not
bunch.
that
Right.
far.
Yeah, it's not. They haven't slipped away yet.
No.
So, and we always say we want them to be relevant. You're right. I do want them to win, though. It's like I go through this. It's like it's every day. It's like you're like you. That's what you get, and then they win, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Good.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Maybe they can rattle off 10 in a row and save the summer. Maybe that's in the cards. Maybe everybody will learn how to hit normally and not try to jack it and get their averages above 200. Maybe. But I don't know. I found myself being happy when they win, and then when they lose, being like, there, that's what you get.
Take that.
Change the philosophy.
Yeah. Let's shift a little bit maybe to the Celtics just for a second. So the Celtics, you kind of notice like Jaylen Brown is like he's acting like a toddler.
Yeah.
Like he is, and this was just something I was thinking about is that I think Brad Stevens has probably already made it clear well before the beginning of this season that this was probably going to be Jaylen Brown's last season in Boston. And I think maybe now the reality is setting in for Jaylen Brown. You can't keep both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum together. It's just not going to work. It's an experiment that is destined to fail. We've kind of seen the failure with that. They're not moving on from Tatum, but they certainly need to move on with Jaylen Brown. So I think Jaylen Brown is realizing the writing's on the wall that he's going someplace else. Now, that being said, I do in Brad Stevens we trust. That is definitely me. I think Brad Stevens is amazing. And I hope Brad Stevens is going to put together some type of package, which I know he will, that is going to benefit the Boston Celtics as we move forward. We've talked before about the Celtics. You can't come back with the same team. You have to do something. You got to blow it up. So, maybe get rid of Jaylen Brown. That's a definite. Maybe get rid of Derek White. There's a couple different options out there.
What about the coach?
Joe Mazzulla, I think, is gone. I think that's a done deal, Mike.
You feel confident about that?
I feel confident. I don't think Joe Mazzulla is returning to the Celtics sideline.
I was happy Brad Stevens spoke this week.
Yeah.
And we've been waiting to kind of hear what he was going to say. And he said there will be changes.
Yes.
So he's obviously not happy about it. New ownership's probably not happy how this thing ended. They're probably not happy with Jaylen Brown's comments that he felt the season was successful. He loved the season.
Yeah.
He was really happy this season. It was the greatest season ever when arguably their best player was not playing.
Yeah.
I thought
you lost in the first round.
Yeah. I thought this has been a bad week for Jaylen Brown stock.
Yeah.
But do you get more for Tatum or more for Brown?
Well, I don't think we're going to move on from Tatum. You would get more for Tatum, but I don't think the Celtics are not going to get rid of Tatum. That would cause a mutiny.
The new CBA or the CBA for the NBA is tough because the next round of supermax contracts that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum would be getting, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dog, if you know better, but they're each going to be getting $70 million. So two players would be $140 million towards the cap.
Yeah.
No, it's not realistic. No, maybe you get away with it for a year, but it's really hard to build a team like that.
Yeah.
And the NBA is structured so that teams can't stay good for long. Right. That's the way that league is structured right now. And I'm not they're doing it in a way that they're financially handicapping teams that are good. Yeah. They're making so you can't, and we're losing the joy of a player staying with a team for their full careers.
Time. Right.
We're losing that. And I thought with the whole Bird rule that was going to make it so we could keep players, but apparently that's not the case. That they're making it so that it's financially not possible to keep the players that you have for a long period. You might be able to keep one, but you can't keep a team of players.
Right. Yeah. No, you make a good point. And I think, so as far as the Celtics are concerned, I can't imagine what Jaylen Brown is thinking other than unless he already knows I'm gone, I'm out. I've already been told that I'm being traded. I just don't know where I'm going. So for the fact that seems like it's more of a dig on Jason Tatum that this was the best season.
Oh, totally.
It's just, that's all, it's all against Tatum. It's a ridiculous to think. I guess we could probably poll 10 Celtics fans, and I don't think you'd go 0 for 10 with saying that this was a successful season.
I still, similar to the Red Sox, I want that philosophy to change. They take more three-pointers than anybody else in the league. In the playoffs, it wasn't even close. And I picked up the stat on another show that the top 3-point shooters, as far as attempts, are all out of the playoffs.
Right.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Congratulations, Ryan, in Concord for trivia. Thank you, Josh, for that trivia question. And thank you to all the sponsors. And have a great week, everybody.